Building on the long history of James Bond films since Thunderball's debut in 1965, few moments have sparked as much controversy and attention as the scene featuring the first Bond girl to appear on screen completely nude. This daring display broke conventional boundaries of the time and caused a significant stir among censors who struggled with the boldness of the moment. While Thunderball remains one of the franchise's most memorable entries, it is not only for its action but also for pushing the limits of what was acceptable on screen. The scene in question challenged censorship standards, igniting debates about decency and sexuality in cinema. This moment marked a turning point for the franchise, as it pushed the envelope and set a new precedent for future films. The reaction from audiences and censors alike sparked discussions that extended beyond the screen, influencing how sexuality would be portrayed in spy movies and Hollywood productions overall. Although some critics found it too provocative, many viewers appreciated the daring move, which redefined the character of Bond girls from passive figures to boldly confident women. This scene's impact is still felt today, remembered for its shock value and its role in evolving the portrayal of women in film. After considering the details, the storyline of the 1965 movie Thunderball revolves around the dangerous actions of the terrorist organization Spectra. Led by Emilio Largo, a ruthless mastermind known for his sinister eye, the group hijacks two powerful nuclear warheads from a NATO plane. Their plan is to use the warheads to threaten the world with widespread destruction unless they receive a ransom of £100 million. In response to this threat, Agent 7, James Bond, is sent on a mission to stop Largo and recover the stolen warheads. His mission takes him to Largo's lair in the Bahamas, where he faces many dangers. During his quest, Bond encounters men who try to stop him, and dangerous sharks that attack underwater. These underwater attacks add to the tension and danger of his mission. Bond also works to convince Domino, Largo's mistress, to turn against him and help him stop Largo's plans. Throughout the story, Bond's bravery and cleverness are crucial as he faces enemies both underwater and on land, working against time to prevent a nuclear disaster. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that stopping Largo is not easy, but Bond's determination and skill are vital in preventing catastrophe. The movie combines action, suspense, and intrigue, making it an exciting adventure with a high-stakes ending. After several years of development, the 1965 film Thunderball saw a significant connection to Ian Fleming's original ideas. In 1959, Fleming started thinking about turning his famous character James Bond into a movie. He worked with producer Kevin McClory and writer Jack Whittingham to create a screenplay treatment. They collaborated closely, and Fleming was involved in the early stages of planning the film. However, Fleming eventually lost interest in the movie business and decided to go back to Jamaica to focus on writing the next Bond novel, which became Thunderball. Meanwhile, McClory believed that the novel contained elements from the screenplay they had worked on together. He later took legal action against Fleming, claiming that the novel used ideas from their joint work. The lawsuit was settled out of court, and as part of the agreement, McClory received certain rights to Thunderball. He was also credited as a producer on the 1965 film, making his involvement official. This legal background contributed to the film's development and influenced how the story was told on screen. Despite Fleming's departure from the project, Thunderball stayed true to many of its origins, blending Fleming's storytelling with the legal agreements that shaped its production. The film remains a landmark in the Bond series, partly because of these behind-the-scenes events that connected Fleming's original vision to the final movie. Although Terence Young ultimately directed the 1965 film Thunderball, he was not the first choice for the job. The producers, Albert Broccoli and Harry Saltzman, initially considered Guy Hamilton to direct the film. Hamilton had already gained fame for his work on the successful James Bond film Goldfinger. However, Hamilton soon decided not to take on Thunderball because he felt drained and lacked fresh ideas for the project. Feeling uncertain about moving forward, the producers then turned to Terence Young, who had previously directed two important early Bond films, Dr. No and From Russia with Love. His experience and familiarity with the character made him a logical choice. Despite his success with the previous Bond movies, Thunderball would be the last film that Young directed in the series. Meanwhile, Hamilton later returned to the Bond franchise, directing Sean Connery again in Diamonds Are Forever, and taking on Roger Moore's first Bond film, Live and Let Die, as well as The Man with the Golden Gun. This change in director choices reflects how production decisions often shift during the making of a major movie series, and how previous directors can come back to influence the franchise in future films. Thunderball remains notable not just for its story and stars but also because of the director selection process that shaped its creation. In 1965, the movie Thunderball was one of the most popular James Bond films, known for its exciting story and impressive cast. One key character in the film was Domino, a character considered to be the most complex Bond girl to date. Because the role was so important to the story, hundreds of actresses were considered for the part. The casting process was detailed and competitive, with many famous actresses being looked at for the role. Some of the most notable names considered included Julie Christie, Raquel Welch, and Faye Dunaway. Each of these talented women was considered because they had the looks, talent, and presence needed for such a prominent role. Despite the many options, the role of Domino was eventually given to Claudine Auger. She was a former Miss France, which made her stand out from the others who auditioned. Her beauty and poise made her perfect for the part, fitting the image of a glamorous Bond girl. Claudine Auger's performance was well received, and she brought a unique charm to the character. Her role in Thunderball helped make the film a success, and her casting remains an interesting part of the movie's history. This process showed how many talented women competed for the role of Domino, and how Claudine Auger's selection helped define the film. The film's casting choices, including her, contributed to its lasting popularity and iconic status in the world of spy movies. Later in the film, there is a famous scene involving the Bell rocket belt, which was a real working jetpack. This scene is known as the jetpack scene and takes place during the opening sequence of the movie. The filmmakers wanted to include a realistic and exciting moment where James Bond appears to fly through the air. To make this happen, they used a real jetpack called the Bell rocket by Lieutenant 2. Highly qualified pilots were flown all the way to France to operate the device and ensure safety during filming. One of these pilots was Bill Suter, who actually flew the jetpack on camera and made the scene look authentic. Initially, the filmmakers asked Suter to fly the jetpack without a helmet to give the scene a cooler, more daring look. However, Suter refused because of safety concerns. He knew that flying the jetpack was dangerous enough, and not wearing a helmet could lead to serious injury if something went wrong. As a result, the scene was shot with Suter wearing a helmet, and this added to the realism of the sequence. The choice to use the real jetpack and the skilled pilots made the scene more exciting and believable for viewers. This scene has become one of the most memorable moments in the film, showing both the daring technology of the time and James Bond's daring persona. It also demonstrated how film productions sometimes use real equipment and experts to make action scenes more impressive. The jetpack scene in Thunderball remains a notable achievement in movie history, highlighting the blend of real technology and film artistry. After a long day of filming for Thunderball, Sean Connery was in a playful mood, and Martine Beswick recalled an amusing incident that happened on set. She said that Connery, known for his charm and sense of humor, took off his toupee and threw it like a frisbee to his hairdresser, who caught it with ease. The scene was watched by many crew members and spectators, and everyone found it quite funny. This moment added a little lightheartedness to the busy shooting day. At the same time, the underwater scenes in Thunderball were among the most memorable parts of the movie. In these scenes, Sean Connery as James Bond had to face sharks while deep underwater. The filmmakers used clear plastic panels to protect him during these dangerous moments. But the panels only went up about 3 feet, which turned out to be a problem. The sharks, attracted by the movement and noise, sometimes jumped over the small barriers, putting Connery much closer to real sharks than expected. This caused genuine fear in Connery, and his reactions in the film reflected his real terror. The scene was tense and thrilling, showing how dangerous the underwater sequences truly were. These scenes remain famous for their realism and the sense of danger they conveyed. In the 1965 movie Thunderball, a significant moment occurs during M's briefing when all the 00 agents are shown together for the only time in the entire film. This scene provides a rare glimpse into the secret world of these elite spies. As the briefing begins, the camera pans across the room, revealing several 00 agents seated quietly, each waiting for their turn to listen to the instructions. Among them, Bond, played by Sean Connery, arrives late and is the last to join the group. He sits in the 7th chair from the left, emphasizing his position within the team. While several 00 agents are visible, only one other agent is clearly revealed apart from Bond. This scene stands out because it captures all the 00 agents in a single shot, offering fans a unique insight into the organization during this particular moment. The sequence highlights the importance of the 00 program and its secretive nature, as well as Bond's position within this covert world. The scene's rarity makes it a memorable point for viewers, emphasizing the unity and secrecy shared by the 00 agents. During this briefing, viewers can see the camaraderie and tension among the agents, setting the tone for the adventurous mission ahead. Overall, Thunderball's portrayal of the 00 agents in this scene adds depth to the spy universe and underscores the vital role these characters play in the broader James Bond narrative. After its release, Thunderball was known to have a budget that exceeded the total amount spent on the first 3 James Bond movies combined. This was a significant investment in the film, reflecting its ambitious scope and high production values. The movie featured many underwater scenes, which required special equipment and detailed planning, contributing to its higher costs. Interestingly, the film's underwater sequences and gadgets, such as the mini rebreather used by the characters, sparked curiosity among professionals. A Royal Navy engineer, intrigued by the device, approached the filmmakers after the movie came out to learn more about the rebreather's design. However, the producers did not reveal any secrets, simply explaining that the actors held their breath during the scenes. This response emphasized that the realistic underwater action was achieved through skill, timing, and careful planning, rather than complex technology. The film's budget and the mysterious rebreather scene became part of its legend, showcasing how effective practical effects and talented actors can create convincing and exciting sequences without relying on high-tech gadgets. As a result, Thunderball's financial scale and the intrigue surrounding its underwater scenes remain notable in the history of James Bond films. In the 1965 movie Thunderball, which is part of the James Bond series, the character Paula Kaplan was played by Martine Beswick. Martine Beswick, known for her striking appearance and acting talent, was naturally pale because she had spent many years working on stage in England. Her skin lacked the deep tan that would match the tropical setting of the film. To prepare for her role in the Bahamas, where the story takes place in a sunny, beachside environment, she was required to spend 2 weeks outdoors soaking up the sun. This was necessary to develop the proper tan that would help her look like a native girl and blend into the vibrant, sunlit scenes of the Caribbean. The process of sunning herself was part of the costume and character preparation to make her appearance more authentic and to fit the visual style of the film. This effort shows how much work actors put into their appearance to bring their characters to life in a convincing way, especially in movies set in exotic locations like Thunderball. Her commitment to getting a proper tan is a small but interesting detail about the production and about how visual authenticity was important, even in the 1960s James Bond movies. The film itself is famous for its underwater scenes, action sequences, and the charismatic performances of its cast, including Martine Beswick's portrayal of Paula Kaplan, the British agent assisting James Bond. Her pale skin contrasted with the tropical backdrop, making her transformation from her natural look to her sun-kissed appearance a noteworthy part of her role. This attention to detail reflects the filmmaking practices of the time, where appearance and authenticity played vital roles in creating the illusion of the story setting. Fans of the film often remember how actors like Beswick went the extra mile, spending time in the sun to achieve the right look, which helped give Thunderball its distinctive atmosphere. Her dedication to her role highlights the collaborative effort involved in producing such a legendary movie, where every element, even a simple tan, contributed to the overall visual storytelling of this iconic James Bond adventure. In the 1965 film Thunderball, a significant moment involves Molly Peters, who played the character Nurse Pat. She holds the distinction of being the first Bond girl to undress on screen, a fact that marked a turning point in the James Bond series. During that era, scenes showing partial nudity were considered very daring and controversial, and as a result, many of her scenes were cut from the original version of the film to meet the standards of that time. Despite these cuts, her appearance in Thunderball was memorable and helped to spark conversations about more revealing content in movies. Molly Peters was a British actress with a relatively brief acting career, starring in just a few films, but her role in Thunderball made a lasting impression. Sadly, she recently passed away at the age of 75, leaving behind a legacy linked to one of the most iconic films in the James Bond franchise. Her performance and the controversy surrounding her scenes contributed to the film's reputation and set new boundaries for the portrayal of women in action movies. Although her career was not extensive, her role in Thunderball continues to be remembered as a moment of boldness and change in cinematic history. Thunderball, a 1965 installment in the James Bond franchise, elicits a wide range of responses from viewers, reflecting both its enduring appeal and its perceived shortcomings. For many fans, it epitomizes the classic Bond spectacle, replete with exotic locations, charismatic women, and high-stakes action. The film showcases Sean Connery's portrayal of the iconic spy, a character whose consistent demeanor and signature style offer a reassuringly familiar presence amidst the chaos. The underwater sequences, particularly Riku Browning's acclaimed underwater photography, are often praised for their visual spectacle, capturing the grandeur of underwater battles with impressive cinematography. These scenes, along with the elaborate set pieces involving exploding boats and planes, contribute to the film's sense of spectacle and entertainment value, appealing to audiences seeking thrilling escapism. However, some critics, including those who find the film's narrative and character development lacking, argue that Thunderball is emblematic of the franchise's repetitive and formulaic nature. They point out that the plot revolves around the familiar trope of villains threatening global destruction with a stolen nuclear weapon and Bond racing against time to thwart their plans. The storyline, they contend, offers little in the way of originality or innovation, feeling tired and predictable for viewers who have seen similar plots in previous films. Additionally, the filmmaker's tendency to extend the film's runtime beyond the core action, often through prolonged underwater sequences or scenes of exotic travel, can detract from engagement, making the movie feel leisurely and sometimes monotonous. The film's characterizations and performances also receive mixed reviews. While some appreciate the presence of alluring women like Luciana Paluzzi and Martine Beswick, others find it difficult to buy into their toughness or their roles as credible villains or allies, with Paluzzi's tough gal persona being somewhat unconvincing for certain viewers. The women often serve more as eye candy or plot devices, rather than fully fleshed out characters, a criticism that resonates with those seeking more depth. Connery's Bond, whilst iconic, is often perceived as a static character, consistent but unchanging, which, as some viewers argue, can make him feel dull over time, especially in a landscape that continually evolves and demands richer character development. Despite the criticism, Thunderball remains a popular installment largely due to its elements of glamour, adventure, and technological gadgets, which continue to captivate many fans. The film's spectacle, from its underwater battles to its high-octane chases, demonstrates a commitment to visual excitement that has helped it endure over the decades. For some audiences, these ingredients suffice to justify the film's place within the Bond legacy, providing an entertaining night's entertainment filled with action, attractive leads, and exotic locales, elements that have defined the franchise's identity. In contrast, critics argue that the film's reliance on these familiar tropes results in a lack of depth and innovation. They highlight that the formula, bad guys stealing a nuclear device, Bond saving the day, and visually impressive sequences, is becoming increasingly predictable and uninspired. The extended runtime and repetition of certain sequences can exacerbate the feeling of tiredness, making Thunderball seem more like a routine display of spectacle than a compelling story. Moreover, the film's portrayal of Bond as a character who never changes or grows can contribute to a sense of stagnation for those seeking more dynamic storytelling. In summary, Thunderball encapsulates a quintessential James Bond experience, one that offers ample entertainment through its set pieces, glamour, and gadgets. Yet, it also highlights the franchise's reliance on familiar formulas that may not satisfy viewers craving originality or engaging character development. While it remains a visually impressive and culturally iconic film, its perceived monotony and predictable plot have led some to view it as a lesser entry within the series. Overall, the film continues to resonate with fans who enjoy its spectacle, but it also serves as a reminder of the franchise's limitations in offering fresh storytelling beyond its established themes and tropes. As we reach the end of our main review of Thunderball, there's more to uncover beyond the screen. Up next, we delve into the lives of the cast members, exploring what truly became of these iconic actors after they left the spotlight. You'll discover surprising twists in their careers, unexpected turns in their personal lives, and how their performances in Thunderball left a lasting impact. Some adapted and thrived in new roles, while others faced challenges that changed their paths forever. This bonus segment offers an exclusive glimpse behind the scenes and into the real stories of the stars who brought this timeless classic to life. Stay tuned, because what happens next might just surprise you, and deepen your connection to this unforgettable film. Prepare to see these familiar faces in a whole new light. Lois Maxwell portrayed Miss Moneypenny in the 1965 James Bond film Thunderball, embodying the loyal, sharp, and subtly flirtatious secretary whose presence added depth to the espionage world. Her role was small but significant, cementing her as the archetype of the character in film history. Maxwell's portrayal was marked by a calm confidence, yet beneath her polished exterior lay a woman navigating a career in a male-dominated industry, often overshadowed by the film's larger stars. Her career extended far beyond Bond, but her association with the franchise remained a defining point. Off-screen, Maxwell's life was marked by personal hardships and struggles with financial instability. Despite her fame, she experienced the death of her first husband, and later struggled with health issues, which cast shadows over her later years. Rumors circulated about behind-the-scenes tensions, including disputes with producers over roles and recognition. Her later years were lonely, marred by health decline and financial hardship, yet she remained proud of her work. The last known information about Maxwell indicates she lived quietly in her later life, away from the spotlight, until her death in 2007, leaving behind a legacy that balances cinematic importance with a life filled with personal battles. Sean Connery's portrayal of James Bond in the 1965 film Thunderball marked a defining moment in cinematic history. His portrayal of Seven was both charismatic and enigmatic, embodying a blend of charm, toughness, and subtle vulnerability that set the standard for the character. Connery's Bond was a man of mystery, capable of both suave seduction and lethal precision, captivating audiences worldwide. Beyond his role as Bond, Connery's career spanned decades, marked by a desire for artistic integrity and occasional confrontations with Hollywood producers. His rigid stance on creative control often led to tensions, notably during his early tenure as Bond when disputes over pay and script issues arose. Off-screen, Connery's life was rife with hardships and controversy. His childhood was marked by poverty and loss, which fueled a brooding intensity that lingered into his adulthood. He faced allegations of scandalous behavior, and his outspoken views on politics and society drew both admiration and criticism. In later years, he withdrew from the limelight, battling health issues and retreating into private life. The most recent reports indicate that Sean Connery passed away, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in both admiration and mystery. His life was a constant dance between fame and darkness, a testament to his complex character. Luciana Paluzzi's role as Fiona in the 1965 film Thunderball placed her among the notable actresses of the espionage genre. Her character was cunning and alluring, embodying the femme fatale archetype within the dangerous world of spy intrigue. Paluzzi's piercing presence and sharp intelligence made Fiona a memorable figure, contrasting with the typical glamour of Bond women. After Thunderball, her career took a complex turn. She sought diverse roles but struggled against Hollywood's shifting tastes and her own desire to avoid typecasting. Off-screen, her life was marked by struggles with personal hardship and turmoil. Paluzzi faced scandals involving her relationships, which often made headlines, adding a layer of darkness to her public image. She endured professional setbacks as her fame faded, and rumors circulated about possible health issues and financial difficulties she faced later in life. Her life has been shadowed by periods of isolation and challenge, with little public detail about her private struggles. The last known information suggests she withdrew from the entertainment industry, retreating to a quieter existence. Her legacy remains tied to her striking performance as Fiona, but her personal journey underscores a life overshadowed by hardship. Her story is one of fleeting fame, resilience, and the silent battles many carry beyond the spotlight. Bernard Lee portrayed the character known as M in the 1965 film Thunderball, a role that symbolized authority, secrecy, and unwavering loyalty within the Secret Service. His portrayal of M was marked by a commanding presence and stoic demeanor, embodying the stern, no-nonsense leader of MI6 with a calm intensity that conveyed both wisdom and an underlying tension. Lee's voice, deep and measured, gave the character an aura of gravitas that left a lasting impression on audiences. Beyond his role as M, Bernard Lee's career was shadowed by personal struggles and the weight of typecasting. His demanding professional life often conflicted with personal happiness. Rumors of financial difficulties haunted him in later years, compounded by health issues that limited his acting opportunities. Lee's life was punctuated by a series of hardships, including a battle with illness that ultimately contributed to his death in 1981. His legacy remains complex, a mix of professional achievement and personal adversity. The last known details reveal that Lee faced these challenges quietly, his health declining in the shadows away from the spotlight. Despite the dark chapters, his contribution to cinema endures, a testament to resilience amid hardship. Anthony Dawson played the role of Ernst Stavro Blofeld in the 1965 film Thunderball, a character that embodies menace, intelligence, and cold calculation. As Blofeld, Dawson brought a quiet yet intimidating presence, capturing the essence of a criminal mastermind feared across the world. His portrayal contributed to the enigmatic and sinister aura of the character, though Dawson's performance was often overshadowed by later, more prominent iterations of Blofeld by other actors. Dawson's role in Thunderball remains a defining moment in his acting career, yet his career outside this film was marked by limited high-profile roles, suggesting a life of quiet obscurity rather than fame. Off-screen, Dawson's life was filled with personal hardships and secret struggles. Details about his private life are scarce, but rumors of financial difficulties, health issues, and familial discord have persisted. Some suggest Dawson faced significant depression and isolation after his brief brush with Hollywood fame, which led to a reclusive existence. Controversies and scandals are rare, but there are whispers of substance abuse and financial mismanagement, which may have contributed to his retreat from public life. The most recent information indicates that Anthony Dawson disappeared from the public eye decades ago, with no confirmed reports of his whereabouts or health. It appears he chose to live under the radar, away from the spotlight that once shone on him. His true zone of privacy remains unbroken, adding an air of mystery around his later years. Although his final days are unrecorded, the impact of his brief but memorable role endures, reminding us of the shadowy figures who leave a lasting legacy behind the scenes. Martine Beswick's role as Paula in the 1965 film Thunderball marked a turning point in her career, showcasing her as a striking and captivating presence on screen. Her character was part of the intense espionage world, but her true allure extended beyond the script, cementing her as a symbol of beauty and mystery in the 1960s. Beswick's performance embodied a mix of vulnerability and strength, making Paula memorable amid the film's action and intrigue. Following Thunderball, her career took a complex path filled with both success and hardship. She faced typecasting and struggled to find roles that matched her early promise, often overshadowed by the label of a Bond girl. Personal challenges also haunted her, including tumultuous relationships, rumors of scandalous affairs, and the pressures of Hollywood's demands. Her life was punctuated by periods of personal hardship, including fights with depression and financial instability. In her later years, Beswick withdrew from the limelight, choosing a quieter life away from Hollywood controversies. The last known information about her hints at a private life, with little public activity or interview appearances. Her mysterious departure from the spotlight leaves her story filled with unanswered questions, a symbol of beauty lost in the shadows of fame. Desmond Llewellyn assumed the role of Q in the 1965 film Thunderball, bringing a memorable presence to the character known for his technical expertise and dry wit. As Q, he embodied the mysterious inventor who provided James Bond with gadgets essential for survival, his portrayal characterized by a stoic demeanor and an air of quiet authority. This role cemented Llewellyn's place in cinematic history, but behind the camera, his life was marked by quiet struggles. The actor's career spanned over 4 decades, yet he faced personal hardships that lurked beneath his composed facade. Llewellyn experienced a series of legal issues, including a DUI arrest in 1991, which cast a shadow over his reputation and hinted at deeper personal trials. His relationships were often private and complicated, and rumors circulated about personal despondency that he rarely acknowledged publicly. His life took a darker turn as he faced financial uncertainties and health issues, including the onset of health decline later in life. His final years were spent detached from the spotlight, battling the creeping shadows of aging and loneliness. The last known information about Llewellyn reveals a man who endured much pain, yet remained resilient until the end. He passed away in 1999 in a car accident near his home, a tragic end to a complex life filled with talent and turmoil. Despite his passing, his legacy as Q endures, symbolizing a figure both enigmatic and indispensable to the Bond saga. Claudine Auger's role as Domino in the 1965 film Thunderball marked her as one of the most iconic Bond girls of her era. Her character exuded a mysterious allure, blending vulnerability with strength, embodying a subtle, captivating presence that left a lasting impression on audiences. Augur's portrayal was more than just a supporting role. It highlighted her striking beauty and poise, making her a memorable part of the franchise. After Thunderball, her career experienced a series of challenges. She faced difficulty sustaining her early fame as the Hollywood glamour faded, often relegated to minor roles or appearances. Off-screen, her life was shadowed by struggles, including rumors of failed relationships and financial hardships that tarnished her reputation. Despite her early success, Augur grappled with emotional struggles that hinted at a darker, more complex inner world. Reports suggest she faced personal setbacks, including health issues, and a desire to escape the limelight that ultimately remained out of reach. The last known information about Claudine Augur indicates she lived a quiet life away from the public eye, avoiding media attention. She passed away in 2019, leaving behind a legacy stained with the mystique of her performances and the pain of her personal trials. Her story serves as a reminder of fleeting fame and the often hidden struggles behind the glamorous facade. Jack Willem played the role of the senior Royal Air Force staff officer in the 1965 film Thunderball. His portrayal embodied a figure of authority and discipline, adding a layer of realism to the military complex underlying the story. Willem's character navigated through the tense military environment, reflecting the pressures faced by officials tasked with overseeing national security during the Cold War era. Beyond his acting role, Willem's career was marked by a steady rise in British television and film, often portraying authoritative figures, yet his life was shadowed by personal hardships. Rumors persist of a tumultuous personal life, including struggles with mental health, and rumored scandals involving illicit relationships, though solid evidence remains elusive. After the film, Willem withdrew from the limelight, leading to speculation about a life filled with private turmoil and unspoken pain. His later years are shrouded in mystery, with little public record of his activities. Some sources suggest he faced financial difficulties and social isolation in his final decades, but definitive details are scarce. As of the last verified information, Jack Willem lived quietly away from the public eye, with no confirmed reports of his death. His enduring legacy remains a cryptic testament to a complex man who played a small but memorable role in a pivotal film. Thunderball, released in 1965, remains a classic example of the James Bond series, combining exciting action scenes, innovative underwater sequences, and a memorable score. The film starred Sean Connery as Bond, who faced off against the sinister Spectre organization to recover stolen nuclear bombs. The cast included notable actors like Claudine Augur, playing the enigmatic Domino, and Adolfo Celli as the menacing Emilio Largo. The film's production faced challenges such as unpredictable weather during the Bahamas filming, and technical difficulties with the underwater scenes, which pushed the team to innovate and adapt. Despite these hurdles, Thunderball became one of the highest-grossing films of its time, cementing Bond's status as a cinematic icon. Its impact extended beyond entertainment, influencing underwater filming techniques and spy story conventions. Watching Thunderball often evokes fond memories of childhood for many, reminding viewers of a tenacious hero and thrilling adventure. Did you see this movie when you were young? Do you have a favorite scene or memory connected to it? Share your stories and how it affected your love for movies in the comments below. Thank you for watching and remembering this exciting piece of film.